So we're talking about Gumby a lot this week. This is a very exciting project for us because this is the car that pretty much was the impetus for BugEyeGuy.com. I purchased it in 1978 and lived with it and restored it as a teenager, and have learned a lot since then with the 200 cars that have come through our building. And now we're putting it together with a high quality restoration and a lot of custom parts. But I wanted to show you in this short video more about the back end now that we're assembling it with all good stuff. This is new stuff, and over the years, of course, I had it cobbled together with various things that came on the car or that I could find in the 80s. So these are the correct taillight bases and new lenses, the correct glass beehive lenses for the bottom. And inside here we have LED lights. You can just barely make out some rows of bulbs in there, but it's very difficult to discern that they're in there, so it looks completely stock. And I'll show you on another car in a minute how bright those are. It's a great innovation, and we have those kits in our catalog. I wanted to also show you the correct bumper mounting. These bumperettes, these are brand new ones that we sell, and they have the narrower base and a fatter top. That's the correct way to install these. The brackets here, there's a U-shaped, what's actually an A-shaped upper bracket, and then a bottom bracket underneath, and we sell those. The other thing is that we have a rubber pad that we include with our kit that goes between the upper bracket and the body. If you don't put that in, you run the risk as you tighten and manipulate this to get it straight of really destroying the paint, and then that paint cracking is all visible when you're done. So it's really important to put something between here and the bracket. On this side, you'll see actually most of these cars have been tapped in the back, which has dented this area. And so here you'll see the angle of the bracket is a bit of this kind of a wedge shape. So we're going to take this off and bend this. So some fitting is normal. All these cars are variable on the back end, so you might have to bend these a little to get it to line up properly. But I'm not happy with that angle, so we'll take it off and bend it more parallel to the back of the car. But either way, without a rubber pad, the back paint job would just be destroyed. So that's a nice thing to think about. And so that's pretty much what we've got that's brand new on the back of this car. I'll show you on some of these other cars what's common. We've got all new gaskets, and it's pretty normal to see these cracking. This is an older one, so it's cracking right on the edge here. It's also quite normal to see dents on these. Again, as I said earlier, they get tapped. So this is a candidate for a new overrider. And the other thing is that this one has holes on the top, and also right there for an old Nerf bar setup. So some people like to replace these to get rid of those holes. The Nerf bars are not available, and most of the ones that are out there that are old are pretty corroded. So you'd have to re-chrome it. Here's a somewhat period correct license plate mount with a single hole in the center. What we do with these is we have a little rubber stud set that we sell so that they come through here. Otherwise you have to climb into the trunk to bolt the license plate onto the car. So we'll fit those on there. And here on Sarah, this is a Bug Eye we have for sale at the moment. I'll show you, it's already fit with LED lights, and you can see the tail lights are on now. That turn signal is significantly brighter than the stock, and these park lights that you see, the upper lights, are significantly brighter than the brake lights are on the stock setup. So you end up with just a much more impressive array of lighting on the back of your car. This one has an electric fuel pump you hear clicking away, and so you get a little bit of a flicker with the engine off, but once the generator is outputting to the system, that tends to go away. Anyway, it's a great improvement for Bug Eyes. Anything we can do to get distracted drivers to pay more attention to our cars. I'm going to just show you in this short video some of the pieces that we use for this Gumby restoration of the components in the back end. These are all things that we have in the Bug Eye Guy parts catalog. Our catalog has links where you can buy all this stuff if you like. This is the bronze Sprite emblem, which goes on the back. We'll get a new one on there. New lenses, of course. This is the base gasket under the lens. There's also a pad gasket that goes under the lamp plate. Now, if you choose to go with an LED kit, we take the stock base plate here and remove these connections. And we do sell these if you have the conventional light bulbs that came on the car. You'll need one of these, but if you go with an LED kit, we modify them, we mount all these pieces on here. This is what the lighting array looks like for the LEDs, and so by adding that on there, you can mount it on the car. Comes with new gaskets, and you can also order new lenses. These often crack. You want to remember not to over tighten these end screws. There's a slotted screw that goes in there, which if you over tighten it, you will absolutely break the lens right here. Many of them are broken. And then we have the glass beehive lenses and the sockets as well for your tail. These would be for the turn signals in the back. These rubber cups often crack and perish. Some of them are of dubious quality. We've been trying to find the best ones we can out there. And then we also have LED bulbs, which are quite impressive. These are you saw the turn signal blinking away. This is because of this much brighter bulb than the traditional 1156, 1157 style. And then, of course, here's the trim ring for the park lights and turn signals. This is one other detail you want to remember if you're restoring the back end of your car. This is a fuel filler neck grommet, and you will have a very difficult time getting this in once the tank's installed. So you'll notice on Gumby we have this in place. Then the tank, you lubricate the inside of this, and the tank filler neck slides up inside. So you want to put that on before your gas tank goes in. These are the bumper brackets that we already talked about. This is a used version, but you see how it's assembled. There's the proper A instead of a U for the upper bracket. And then the lower bracket, this is a used one here, but it mounts under the trunk. You'll need these pieces inside the trunk. If you're unfamiliar, this is something that goes inside the trunk and gives you these captive holes. These have captive nuts here so that you can thread. See, there's a captive nut right where my finger is. That allows you to thread the bumper mounts in from the back and up from the bottom. And this lives in the trunk. So don't forget these pieces as well, which we sell. And of course, here's a new overrider. This is a really nice way to dress up the back of your car. Most of them look more like this, where you see some pitting. I mean, if you really love the original chrome, you can stay with these, but most of them have gotten dented so that it kind of damages the overall look of the rear end of your car. And lastly, we have this little rubber pad, which is what you want to make sure you're putting between the body of your nice new painted finish with the bracket going on there, so you don't do any damage to the paint. So, Gumby progresses and some nice innovations in our catalog at Bug Eye Guy.